if you ever need a bro to be written, you'll want to go to Dumb Bro. Well, it was like I said, back in Mass Effect 1, I was a fan like everyone out there sitting here today. So Garrus was a terrific character to play. So when I got the opportunity to write him, I wrote the way I thought fans probably wanted it to end, which was on this amazing note of friendship, I suppose. So that scene up there in the rafters.
Yes! My favorite place on the Citadel.
That was necessity being the mother of invention. So I knew I had to write a scene with Garrus, and I'm like, it's going to be at the Citadel, but man, what is it going to be? What is it going to be? So I'm in the game, walking around, and I'm looking up there going, I wonder what's up in the rafters? And, wait a minute, Garrus might know. Hey, and the whole idea of a bucket list came together, which turned into a shooting contest and cinematics, and Art was looking at me like, are you crazy? And I said, you know, fans are going to love it, you'll see. But I'm curious who let Garrus win that shooting contest? So who didn't let Garrus? Oh. Spirit of honesty. The other great aspect to Garrus, of course, was, as I understand it, there was a lot of fan feedback in Mass Effect 1 wanting to be able to romance Garrus in 2, which Patrick then did into, I think, rather well. And all I had to do, I think, was just take that all the way home and give you the big sweeping, Hollywood Gone with a Kiss, we used to call it up there in the rafters, to finally bring the romance where it should be for the final game. So I got to credit, though, Patrick for starting that whole.
I just did a hand bump.
We got the full motion capture kiss. But the thing about Garrus, of course, is he's only one of 2 characters who've been with Shepard as squad mates the whole time. The other being Tali, which.
She's actually my favorite 2 characters in the game are the Elusive Man and Tali. So we're going to talk about Tali, but we're going to about 5 minutes because we do want to make sure there's time for questions from the fans. So, okay.
Tali Zora Naraya. And then Vast Normandy. We weren't sure we were going to be able to do that. It was actually one of those spur-of-the-moment things where we said, could we actually change her title card? Can we do that? And I think the gameplay guy said, well, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but, oh, you want to change it to Vast Normandy? Well, yeah, we'll do that. Sometimes asking for the impossible, you just have to explain why it's going to be cool, and then the impossible gets a little easier. Tali and Garrus were were the first people I got the They Were With You All the Time achievement for in Mass 1. And so they were my faves. Not that we have faves, we're completely impartial and professional on all of our characters, even my waifu. So in Mass Effect 2, I got to take her on a journey and share a little bit more about Quarian culture. In Mass Effect 3, Tali is, if she's alive and you're not a monster who got her killed, the lens through which you see Quarian culture. And it's one of the reasons I really love Tali, because she's flawed. I think a lot of people think, I've seen people say, oh, she's just perfect, and she's not. And, I wrote her, so. I'm saying that. She's racist. She grew up in a very racist society that has had several centuries to tell its version of what happened with the Geth. And that doesn't mean she's a bad person. It just means that's where she grew up. That's the life experience she had, was sitting around the holographic campfire telling ghost stories about the Morning War. She has an unrealistic willingness to sacrifice herself for the fleet by human standards. She has a father that even in death she's trying to prove herself to. And that's what Quarian culture is. So for telling the story of the Geth and the Quarians, we really wanted to establish that. We needed to establish just on a sheer logistical level, if you were new to Mass Effect 3, trying to give you any kind of reason why, between the Geth and the Quarians, you would side with the ones you've been fighting for the past several hours. Because we knew you were going to fight the Geth. They're fun enemies to fight. They make the blinky sounds. They shoot fast. They have a lot of shields. So they're fun to fight. I like them. But if we're going to let you fight them for 2 hours and then say, or you could side with us, how does that work? And so the way we decided to do that, the way we had to do it, was to show that the Quarians were flawed as well. And that they were too passionate, too emotional, that they are deeply spiritual people who care about their home world, but are also willing to do sometimes atrocious things. Who punched Admiral Garrow? Oh, yeah. You made the right call. Yeah. So coming down to that Tally's story, even Tally's romance really is the romance. She doesn't have a big date on the Citadel. Your date is getting her homeworld. That was kind of the way we thought about that last conversation, sitting on the cliffs, looking at everything. That was for Tally, that was coming full circle, and that was really the experience I wanted to get across.
So there we go. We are starting to run out of time. We've been talking too much.
Talk about Natalia.
So we do want to open up the floor to some questions. We've kind of run out of time. If you have a question, we've only got about 10 minutes or so, unfortunately. If we do not get to your question, please come to room 105. Talk to us. We do want to talk to you. Please limit yourself to just one question, and by one question, not, I've got one question with 8 different parts to it. So please, go ahead, sir. Your first question.
There's a mic over there.
Yeah, you're on.
Alright, just want to say, first of all, I was introduced to Mass Effect because I had to play it for a class assignment.
You take the best classes.
To school in Montreal, so yes, Montreal. I wanted to know something. This is not something that is part of the ending, but this is something that I always thought about towards the end of the game. When the Citadel was moved, what happens to everybody? Is it instant death? Did some people get out?
Everyone on the Citadel, you mean?
Yeah, like, did the Citadel Defense War Asset help with anything with that? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we established, I think it's in the Citadel Codex entry, is that definitely any place inside has emergency seals, and even some of the exterior areas have the same the same kinetic barriers that are used to stop air from escaping.
Yeah, we actually see this in MU1 near the end. We're actually fighting on the external surface of the Citadel.
Yep. So even if the Citadel is destroyed, and if I remember right, in the Control ending, it's not destroyed. But even in the ending in which the Citadel is destroyed, it's not like the entire thing blows up. Like, there's definitely going to be casualties, but you see the arms come off into large sections, and there's no reason that everyone on those is dead. When we were writing role-playing plots, or the post-traumatic Asari, or any of the flavor ambients, we wrote those assuming, there's going to be a loss of life when the Citadel is hit by the Reapers, and then when the Citadel is used in the endgame, but you can assume a lot of those people are still alive. They were indoors, they were behind a kinetic barrier,
So not too bad. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much.
Next, go ahead.
Hi, this is a bit more of a philosophical question related to the entire context of the ending, which is, as an art form in games, should the integrity come from its capacity to withstand all forms of criticism, not just constructive? It's a lot of the Dr. Music's letter. He said, we want constructive criticism. Isn't this integrity about having all kinds of criticism and taking it and addressing it?
Whenever you create a piece of art, I mean, you're never going to have everyone who's extremely happy with what you do. There's always bits and pieces. The only reason we ask for it to be constructive, and I do the quotey things because constructive can mean a number of things, as long as it's not belligerent. And if it's belligerent, that's entirely up to the feedback giver. But when we're listening for things, we're actually looking for ways to improve. That's kind of the line that we draw. We would like ways to improve, we would like ways to make things better. If you didn't like the ending, you're entirely okay to not like the ending. But,
Doesn't make it a crime against humanity.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we really just want constructive, because you know, you can give us whatever you like, but we still want to be action on that feedback. So
Thank you very much for clarifying.
yeah.
I just wanted to say that the scene where you shoot Morgan is actually really, really well done and really kind of beautiful. The way that he like crawls up and there's blood falling. It's really sad, but it's really nice. It's very nice. It suits his character.
The first time our cinematic designer showed us that scene, so he starts at the Renegade Interrupt, there was a bug, a glitch, where everything went into slow motion. And we're like, that's not a bug, keep it. His name's John Evinger. He spent a lot of time working on that. And he's the one that put it in the crawl, and we all saw that, and I'm like, oh God, Gordon was crawling in the blood. We're even crying, so glad you did it.
It was really nice. My question was, this is actually completely unrelated, but back on Hylos, we saw statues of these tentacle people.
Right.
Yes.
Are those the Protheans? Because we see Javik, and he's not that.
So, potentially we've contradicted ourselves a few places here. So,
First time that's ever happened.
So I wrote, Javik has a line where he talks about the Protheans built upon the ruins of another civilization that came before them. So, unless another writer contradicted that, I believe that those statues are the civilization that came before them.
Could be.
Yeah.
I just assumed they were being artistic.
Thank you very much.
So, as a software tester, I wanted to give the Q&A guy a little love. What kind of tools did you guys use for testing? Are they in-house, or do you use any third-party kind of tools?
The majority of stuff that we use for testing is in-house stuff. So, for instance, with the massive amount of plot states that Alex was talking about earlier, we have our own internally developed plot state editor, which is a giant, scary thing that in Mass 3 includes all of the plots for Mass 1 and 2, and then also for 3. Yeah, so going through there and making sure that everything is straight and importing properly is a whole deal. Trying to think of some of the other internally developed tools that we're using. I mean, all our testing structure and stuff like that, our test plans, so it's all internally developed. So by and large, it's all internal.
It's kind of hard to generalize with the type of content that we make. Not a lot of other people have the same type of challenges that we have. So.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I heard with the new the ending DLC, I've heard conflicting things about whether or not it's just going to be more cutscenes, or is there going to be actual gameplay included in the new endings?
Right now we're planning extended cinematics, and we don't really have anything else to say about it.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you.